have here is a motherboard that I bought for $15. Came included with a processor and fan. I got it today, so I went outside and actually cleaned it up a little bit. I kind of cleaned up the dust, took off the thermal paste, reapplied some new thermal paste, re-put in the fan again after cleaning it. I'm definitely going to try and see if there's a better fan for this. I've ordered a new CPU as well. Not a new CPU, it's a used one, but it's supposed to be a little bit better than the current one that is already that came with this motherboard. Just to make sure that it worked, I wanted to hook it up. I was able to find a Dell power supply that's about a 460 watt power supply. Hooked up a USB keyboard. Also put in connected a Dell monitor. Just only connected the connector for the power and the ATX. I happen to have some old RAM for a system I used to have that was anyway, I used to have a Dell laptop, a Dell machine that was a Pentium D dual core, and the motherboard on that one it was still operational, but the capacitors were already getting blown, and there was already signs of it that it was dying out. Anyway, so I kind of recycled that machine. I kind of took the parts to the electric recycling dump and kind of salvaged what I can, and that was including some of the RAM. So this is a 1 gig dual DDR2 RAM kit. Still works. It was able to post. So I'm kind of happy that this motherboard is working, so that's good. A little bit of an odd thing about this motherboard is that this has 2 PCI Express 16 slots. I was hoping, I knew by the picture that this was going to be the first edition, the first revision of this type of motherboard, even though the seller had a completely different one listed, but I knew going upon the picture that this was going to be an early type, and got it, and surprise, it is what I expected. It is smaller than I thought, so this is a micro ATX, so I'm probably going to look for a case for it that's pretty much small. Probably that'll be the most expensive thing I can get. The processor I got is a Pentium dual core. That's almost 2.9 gigahertz. That only has a 2 megabyte cache pipe. There's some 4 ones out there, but when I did a comparison online as far as CPU benchmarks, the one I ordered is supposed to be the best one, even though it only has like 2 megabytes. The other ones had 4, but the performance on the single thread wasn't all that great. So therefore, I'm going to replace it with that, but I'm also going to try and look for another fan, because it was a little bit of a tough challenge putting this guy back on. I don't know, I think that's kind of like, man, how could I put another? So I'm kind of glad the CPU, everything kind of posts, because I would have to have hated to find out if the motherboard was bad, and I would have to get another processor, take this fan off, but I'm going to wind up doing that anyway at some point. So I think this is going to be a good little project for me to do, because I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with this project. I'm thinking about probably putting Linux on there. In fact, I'm about to get set up a USB drive, a little USB flash drive, and put Linux on and see if it can boot with off of Linux. But I got to find out if this thing can actually boot from a USB. Voltage, there's a wing in here, nothing in there. Also, I gotta find out if the battery, I gotta turn this off so that way I can find out if this keeps all of the settings that I put on here, so that way I know that the CMOS battery is good. If not, I'm gonna have to order me a CMOS battery. That looks all good. That doesn't seem to give me a boot integrated. Onboard USB functions, legacy. That was one thing I like about this. It has a serial port, which is good. Onboard LAN. Power management. Nothing in here that I see. This thing can put a nope. But here's the other thing I don't think I can turn off the video on this. I think the video on this is always going to be on the whole time, which is fine. I don't really care too much about that. But I don't seem to find like a boot. I don't want to mess with voltage. This is the last thing I want to deal with. Check one more time here. I'm not going to put a floppy drive, even though I could put a floppy drive. Show display first. Oh, so this thing has pretty cool. Select which graphics controller to use. So you could actually put in a different type of. So you could technically try which one to initially start off with, which is the 16, which is that red one. And if you want to, you could actually start the 4X one. So technically I could put in two different graphics cards if I want to and boot off of one or the other, which is kind of interesting, but I don't think this was ever meant to be as far as like a gaming machine, as far, this is maybe back in the day, but I don't think so. So anyway, I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and save and exit. And okay. Alright, it's gonna post and it's going to throw me a bunch of things that there is no boot thing. Actually, here's an F8. I wanted to try that out to see if F8 does anything. F8. Reboot and select proper boot device or okay. Let me try and create my flash drive, and then I'm gonna try again. Hold on. Okay, so I created my little flash drive that I put Ubuntu Mate on there and hooked it up to the motherboard. The one thing I did find out is that the CMOS battery, that guy right there, needs to be replaced because it's not even after I turned off the power surge and cut the electricity, this thing lost all of the settings that I had to put in it. The time got reset, so pretty much tells me that I'm gonna have to get me a CMOS battery. But it's able to boot off of USB. It's trying to it detected the USB as a bootable drive, and I guess right now it's just trying to read off of that. Hopefully I get something other than that little symbol there. So this is encouraging though, because this gives me something to work with. When I get that new processor, hope that new processor is good. So once I get it, I will probably hold off on putting it on until I see if there's a better CPU fan for this, or this might be the best CPU fan that I can get. The only thing is, I just didn't like having to put this thing because it's basically plastic prongs that go in. You have to push down with those guys there, which is pretty. It took quite a bit of effort to get that pushed in. I don't know if it's even picking anything up or not. Well, that could be lots of different things, but knowing in the fact that it's able to boot that off of a USB drive, which gives me hope, because now I'll eventually will try to hook up on Amazon. There's SSD cards or SSD hard drives for less than $20, about maybe even $13, that I can get a 60 gig SSD and probably hook that up, and that way you can use that as the hard drive. I got some old graphics cards that are PCI Express that I could hook up. I do have a 2 gig, because this only can go up to 2 gigs. This is a 1 gig right there. Both of those are 512, but I have a 1 gig dual DDR dual channel. But unfortunately, they are, I believe, 533 megahertz. This thing can go all the way up to about six. It can go up to 6. I believe it's 600. Yeah, 600 megahertz. So I think I might have to go and get me some of those. See if I can find some RAM for that cheap, which I should have no problem. If not, then I'll stick with the 533s, which I really don't want to go with the 533s. I'm sorry, they're 667, I believe, 667. Anyway, looks like it's still not doing anything, but that could be a lot of different reasons why. Again, I'm trying to use a USB drive to boot off of it, and I don't think these things were ever meant to work that way. Again, don't know what that really means there, but anyway. So this project is going to keep on going. It's going to take me about a couple months, so I'm hoping to complete this project and turn this guy into a really good machine by the end of the year, if not by January. So I'll probably keep posting on my progress as far as getting this guy to look from looking like this to something really nice. All right, catch you guys next time.